Hey! Happy Sunday!
Hey everybody, welcome back to another Live at 405. I'm Tori.
And I'm B, Bill, Girl Style _Hubs, or just Bill.
Also 3245. You always forget that one, and as an online reseller, you really should own your brand. 3245.
I'm new to this mess. So
You're new to this mess. Which mess is this?
the YouTube mess.
I would beg to differ because we just did a 1 year React video, which Bill did his first video exactly 1 year ago. If you can believe it, it's so crazy to even think that that is true, but it is. And yeah, we just filmed a React video because here's the thing with being self-quarantined. There's a lot of things you can do around the house. Lots of things you can do around the house. And that is kind of the purpose of this live today or this week is going to be a little different. So normally we do a lot of thrift hauls. That's what we do.
What's up, Jacob?
And y'all join us because you want to see what we picked up. You have great questions and tips and tricks and
Flippin'
all
gals.
kinds of things.
Hey. Sorry.
But we wanted to do something a little different this week and just have a positive conversation and really bring the community together. Because I know that a lot of us are going through so many things right now. Our lives are kind of being upturned in many different aspects. And, what I'm seeing is a lot of negativity. And as someone who prides myself on trying to focus
Denali.
on the positive all the time, I really thought that this would be a great time just for us to focus on the positive and have some connection with our community. Denali had a great live last night. It was so much fun. So again, thinking about ways that you can connect to the community, YouTube is a great tool that we have.
And social distancing.
Yes, and the social distancing.
Miles away.
One of the things I will say about tonight's live is we are going to have a special guest. So we have two special guests, actually, that are PFFs that we were supposed to go see this week in Texas. And we had all these plans made, which I know a lot of you have had plans that have been upturned, like I said. And so we're making the best of the situation, and we're going to do a little virtual happy hour with all of you tonight. So, what could be better than that besides being in Texas?
And alive.
and keeping other people safe, which is a big thing.
Ash,
so,
hi.
Anyway, a couple of ground rules that I want to say is on this channel, we're only positive all the time. Absolutely, we know that there's a lot of things going on. And, if you're having something bad happen, please, reach out to the community. We're here. But we're not going to talk politics or anything. That's not the purpose of this. No. This really is just a good time. Yep. It's a good time, happy hour, hanging out with friends and talking about ways that positivity can come out of what's happening right now. Yeah, hi everybody. Welcome, by the way. Hello.
Hey, Melissa. Glad you caught us for the first time.
Yeah, Melissa, hello. It's a little different format tonight.
We're
having just a little community conversation.
Little chat.
So before I bring in our special guests, they're anxiously awaiting in the green room. I do want to say from a personal perspective.
Don't say the C word.
What's that? Oh, is it like,
no,
like you can't say.
Correct.
You can't
because
say
we'll get
demonetized.
Yeah, the Voldemort of today's age.
Oh, the monetization thing, I get it. People are trying to take advantage of, I totally understand that.
Give a rat's butt.
But where's it going? Oh, I have ADD like crazy, by the way, if you're brand new here. Yeah, I'm normally like, bing,
before
bing,
we
bing,
get
bing,
started.
bing. Oh, before we get started. So I just wanted, on a personal note, to say that I appreciate all of you. And the reason that we are going live is because I long for the community. And,
need the community.
I really, even though it's virtual, it's still a community. And I couldn't do what I do without all of you. So, and I know we say this each week and we get a little sappy sometimes, but it's really true. So having these little virtual meetings, virtual happy hours, I think can be beneficial, not just for us because it's good for us, but hopefully for all of you as well. So in the comments, make sure you're introducing yourself. Let's get to know a friend, get to know your neighbor, share your name if you're on Poshmark, what your Poshmark closet is, if you have an eBay store,
Etsy,
YouTube, share your YouTube. And really, I'm not kidding. Share it. I know it can be a little weird. You're thinking, well, should I put this on here? Is that going to seem like I'm touting my own horn? And yeah, toot, everybody, toot your own horn, please. We all right now are going to be home a lot more. So let us know. Podcasts. Oh, wait, this
Sorry,
way.
Amber.
Podcasts. I'm trying to figure this out. It's a mirror.
Hey, Nicole. Thank you.
So,
your thrift haul was awesome.
Hey, Nicole. Yeah, we actually learned a couple of great brands. So thank you for sharing. I was there, by the way. I was just kind of multitasking. So anyway, let me go ahead. Brian and Lara have been sitting in our green room for a little bit of time. And so, okay, let's just bring them on and then we'll go from there. Again, this is just a virtual happy hour. Everyone, if you have a tea, a kombucha, a beverage of your choice.
And Yeti, I'm just gonna throw that out there, homies. I'm here. Anytime you.
All right, so I'm gonna bring in our special guest. So we're gonna bring in. Hi. Welcome. So let us know your name. Give us a little introduction, and say hey to the people.
Awesome. So I'm Lara Morrow. This is Brian Morrow, and I'm Posh, and just met Tori and Bill on YouTube, and then we met at Posh Fest, and we're inseparable. And when you meet those people that you just know are just so good-hearted, and they become your family in an instant. Brian's very new to all of this. Like, I just taught him how to ship a package. He designed my office, but he and Bill play. He got to know Bill and Tori's dad. First, he was watching the videos, and then they started playing video games on Xbox. So we got to be our own little family and community. Thanks for having us. We wish you were here, but we all did the right thing.
Absolutely. We're just down in Texas enjoying quarantining.
Quarantining. Yes. Well, and so what is the weather? So give everyone kind of a virtual tour of what it's like in Texas right now.
So, the day you guys were supposed to land, it was beautiful, sunny, 80 degrees, perfect. We could have sat by the pool. But then the next morning, so Thursday morning, it was torrential downpour, dropped to 54, and is supposed to rain for 7 solid days. So it's been raining all weekend. It would have been a washout anyway. So things happen for a reason. We've been talking about that for years. So, we'd have made it to the thrift stores and to the dinners, but it would have been so much nicer if it was beautiful.
Yeah, and it's still disappointing. I mean, that's the thing is, when your plans get turned upside down, disappointing. But again, silver lining, the airline did give us a full credit. So again, thinking about that, so we're still going to come.
Yes,
it'll just be at a different time.
Yeah,
exactly.
And the airport was a hot mess, and we may not have made it home. So.
Bill saw that. We thought that we were the only ones seeing that on the news, the Fort Worth airport. And then Bill this morning, he said, "Oh my gosh, we saw the Fort Worth airport on the news." Luckily, that's just customs, so that's international, but
it's still bad.
It's bad everywhere, and so it was a blessing.
Yep, absolutely.
We wanted you guys to be safe. That's all that matters.
Exactly, and. For us, I mean, we were talking a little bit before this, and we were still in that window. We could have still gone.
We could have flown there.
There were a couple, of interactions where it was questionable. So I self-quarantined when I got home from Seattle, and I just didn't want to be contagious to everyone, just in case. I was trying to be mindful of that. So we were still on the fence, even until like 2 days before. We were still thinking about going.
I'm thinking like 24 hours before. We were like, we could
still do it. And then
we were still talking about it the Wednesday before you guys were going to fly out.
We were just like, but it could still happen. Let's just have hope. And then
hey Terry,
we made the right decision.
I think
definitely.
Yep.
So going back to how we met, so it's kind of so crazy to think that you could actually meet people. And I know these days is kind of
the norm
to meet people online. But like you said, I feel that we've actually had such an amazing connection where, I mean, you and Bill are FaceTiming like every week. And
at least once a week.
All the time. It's so funny that, Tori's always busy and she doesn't like to talk on the phone. Brian's the same way. Bill and I are the ones that FaceTime and chat and, hey, what's up? What's going on?
Yep.
And, you know, so yeah, it's what's interesting to me. And, you know, I don't want to get all mushy, but we haven't even known you guys almost a year, I guess, pretty getting there. I can't imagine. I mean, y'all are like our family, you know, and it's so weird to see people in person. When you guys walked in the hotel at Posh Fest, I mean, I was screaming, running up to you. It was like we never, like I knew you always. So I think people are afraid out there to reach out, you know, and we did, you know, we always talk about how to encourage people to do that and how positive this community can be.
Exactly. And I think that is something that comes into play right now more than ever, because a lot of people are going to be isolated or maybe, you know, self-quarantined, or they're feeling a little just disconnected. So don't be afraid to email that person that you are watching on YouTube, or DM them on Instagram, because you don't know what relationships will form because of that.
Yep.
You know, we're all human. And, you know, when you're on social media, it kind of dehumanizes things a little bit, but just reach out and don't be afraid. I mean, our relationship is completely like a telltale story of what can happen.
Absolutely.
I know. It's cool. And like you said, I mean, people on YouTube or social media, they get to be almost like stars. I remember when I saw Denali the first time, I'm like, she's so tall, and I say to her, and I'm so nervous, and I'm never nervous. And, you know, she's just the sweetest thing in the world. And I think that's why I loved Posh Fest, you know, because you're actually meeting people that are positive. And, you know, if you work in a corporate environment, you might know that, you know, sometimes the women aren't as supportive of one another, but in this environment, it's so. And now the husbands are getting to be that. If you would have told me a year ago that Brian was going to like build me a whole office and learn how to ship and share my closet, no way. Never would have thought
Woo!
it.
Yay for Posh Men.
Yeah.
I mean, exactly dragging me into it. I remember when she first started this, you know, there was just, I started seeing all these clothes laying around the kitchen. I'm like, what in the hell is going on? And then I, you know, started explaining to me what she's doing. And then I see her, you know, we just kind of, you know, gradually grew with the shipping of things. I'm like, she's just taping paper on the boxes. I'm like, what are you doing now? What? And, you know, we went to a label. He
bought me my printer.
To a, you know, so it's just, you know, then I'm like, okay, well, let's set up a whole infrastructure out there. And it's gotten to be a completely different thing. So I'm definitely behind the scenes infrastructure and support.
Well, and, you know, if you don't necessarily have that support system, if you're, you know, live it alone, or some people say that their family and friends don't understand, this is your support system. You know, I'm looking the chats over here on my iPad, but this right here, this is your support system, you know? So,
exactly. And that's where, you know, just going back to not being afraid to reach out, because if we hadn't started talking, we would never be where we are. And you mentioned Denali, and I'm going to call out Denali as well. We met Denali at, we met her, I think, in Seattle, but we saw her at the bins one time, and she was so supportive. And she was giving us all these tips and tricks about eBay. You know, we tried it, it didn't work for us, but not to say that she wasn't right. So, you know, she's so warm. And Nicole, and I'm going to call out Nicole because she's here too.
Yep.
It's people feel intimidated, I
and
think.
Liz.
And Nicole and I didn't really get to talk at Posh Fest at all, which was so disappointing, I think, to both of us. And now we're
going up the escalator and we're going down the escalator.
But now I feel like, you know, I've talked to, you know, many people on like the DM level or through emails, and it just took that getting over yourself to reach out. Like, get over yourself. You know, worst case, they don't respond, or, you know, they're not interested, but then those aren't your people.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. It's all, you know, you're connecting with the right people. So if you're not in that right group, you'll feel it. Find the right group of people.
Well, it's really good skills to have right now. I think we're going to see more and more in the virtual changing. I mean, this is, you know, a great example of this happening. It was already kind of happening anyways, but this might really, you know, really accelerate that. So it's good.
Brian and I both work at home. Tori, you work at home. Bill, you work at home.
Yep.
Brian and I work in corporate, and I've got 25,000 employees across the globe. I'm close to people I've never even met, you know. So
Oh
Exactly.
my
Exactly.
goodness.
Oh, hey,
Ty.
But yes, and I want to piggyback on that, Brian, because it's the way that we are right now with our corporate jobs, and I'm going to use that because I am in tech and I'm in corporate America too. I guess tech is still corporate America. But we had our giant conference, and we've seen this in a number of different areas. But we had this giant conference that we do every year where we have all of our people come. We have vendors. We have the Hilton in San Francisco. It's huge, and there's so much money being put into it, and so much people power. And we had to cancel it last minute, and in 3 days turn that into a virtual 3-day event. And wow, I just got very Southern right there. See, you're rubbing off on me already. But we had to turn it into this 3-day virtual event, and we did it. And that's because we have all of these things at our fingertips for those connections to people, as long as we don't use them as barriers to keep us away from people.
Right.
So
yep. That's a good
and
point.
I think you too, Lara. Didn't you have one of your conferences? Was it postponed or was it?
Oh, she's
canceled?
supposed to fly out on Tuesday, I think.
I was supposed to fly out this Tuesday, and I was going to MC the whole conference. And so thank goodness we're postponing it. It was an internal thing for women's leadership and growth and all that. So we're definitely postponing. But I love we've been talking about the corporate leadership that's been going on, when we were talking this week. And not just corporate leadership, but individuals, things that they're doing across the country or across the world during this situation. I love how people rise to the situation, and you see some of that humanity again.
Exactly. Well, and so many organizations, like you said, they're paying their employees. And we talked a little bit about this. And the company I work for is paying all of our food service people and all of our housekeeping people. We're paying those, even though all of our offices are closed. They're doing that, and a lot of organizations are doing that.
Yeah,
isn't that a sports organization?
Yeah, like my team, the Blackhawks. The owner is paying all the concessions, everybody in the building that works there for the rest of the season, which is another like 2 months.
Yeah.
Well, I think it was my team and Mark Cuban who did that first.
Yeah,
Stop it.
anyway.
Did you hear Brian? Hockey's barely a sport.
Oh, all right. We're coming down there as soon as we can, and we're gonna talk about this.
So, and I think that those are the type of stories that I want to see. And so this is why I think when we decided to have this little virtual happy hour, really was to focus on the positive. And a lot of the news is focusing on so many of the scary things that are happening, and a lot of people are stressed and scared. And I'm seeing Insta stories where people are literally having anxiety attacks and they just don't know what to do. And so I really want us to look at those stories of strength and unity and how we're all coming together. And that's not just at this giant level, but it's at the reseller level too. In our community, I think that we see a lot of that.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. It's always been that way, I think in the reseller community way before, this whole situation, but even more so. And that's why I'm just really proud to be a part of it. We were talking about the positives of this situation when we were talking this week, guys, how this is something that's really going to stop and teach our country how to prepare and recover, and some of those positive things that we might not have been able to learn and do if it was a super, like if the Ebola thing would have gone crazy a few years ago. And, those are the kinds of things that we need. We need to learn how to do this with our country infrastructure, make it better and easier to attack this kind of thing.
Yeah, learn, take this and then learn from it 100%. And also thinking about what's happening across the globe. So one of the stories that we talked a little bit about, or that I told you was really inspiring to me, was in Italy. They're all required to be quarantined. They're not allowed to leave their houses
except for essentials like going to get food.
Well, I mean, that would make sense. Yeah,
but
they're standing on their balconies, literally singing in a giant, area. Just
I think they dropped. Are we still live? think we're live, and they dropped maybe. Okay, we'll wait for Tori and them to come back in. I'm gonna go ahead and text them here.
There we go.
We're back.
Okay.
I would say solar flares, but I think it's just internet issues because, everyone's using the internet now. So because of the internet.
It might be the 7-degree weather outside also. Who knows?
I think that luckily we were at like a point where it wasn't in the middle of a conversation. So I think it was okay.
Yes, it was all good.
Well, one of the positive things that we've seen, even from on a global scale, is that how China's sort of gotten their hands around this, and we saw they were having an unmasking ceremony in China where they're taking off their masks and closing those hospitals, and then they're flying those healthcare workers and doctors from China to Italy to help, which is really awesome. That was really, really, really amazing.
Wow,
And then on the flip side, we saw on the news Friday that there's a girl here in town who's bedazzling masks with jewels.
See, again, like how do you turn it into a happy situation? So in the comments, everyone, let us know if you've seen something inspiring or you have, done something inspiring. Let us know because I definitely want to talk about that. That is something that really we should all be looking at the positive right now. Not putting your head in the sand. I mean, I just want to be clear. I'm not telling anyone not to be concerned or not to be aware of what's going on, but just focus,
be responsible.
Yes, and focus on the positive as much as you can because it can be very, even for me, someone who's very positive, it can be challenging. So I can only imagine how it is out in the world. Okay, we have, I'm looking to see if anyone, yes, and
Bill Twitter all the questions.
Love it, Lisa. It is nice to take a step back, just literally like reevaluate. And that also helps, if you're home.
Thanks, Liz.
Which a lot of us are. I mean, so I'm going to go back again. So you mentioned, Lara, that, all of us are work from home. Like that's what we do on a day-to-day basis. But being forced to stay home changes it. It changes.
Like somebody tells you can't do something.
Exactly. Like, so never mind, you're not allowed to go here. And now all of a sudden, that's all I want to do. So this morning, I was getting serious FOMO because I was seeing everyone going, or not everyone, but many people going to like thrift stores and even just seeing people yesterday go to thrift stores. And it was so hard for me not to go. But that was my, again, conscious decision so that I just want to make sure that even though I know I'm not sick, I don't want to get someone else sick just in case. Like I can not go to the thrift store for a while and it'll be okay.
So said Sonia, near where I live today, just a few blocks away, a church was setting up mass amounts of food outside and putting the word out for people who need to come by.
See?
That's
right
so
there. Again. Amazing. And then a lot of people are pivoting a little. So Nicole, I know that her daughter's school, I think, was supposed to do a fundraiser, and now they're doing it online.
Right.
So when we think about the positive aspects of that, you actually are going to have a bigger audience maybe that will be able to donate to the school that wouldn't have been able to do so in the past. So that's something else that.
Oh yeah, we were talking about this earlier to you guys about, our schools are closed now for a while here in Texas, and I know y'all's are as well. And there are so many of those kids that depend on those free breakfast and lunch.
Yep.
And I'm embarrassed that I didn't even think of that at first, and my parents are on the school board and, these things. And so Sodexo, which is the vendor that does all of the food for the cafeterias, they've got stations all over so those kids can come and pick up food while school's closed. And that's awesome.
Absolutely.
So, but we also have a little, we have a charity here in town and, north of Fort Worth in our little, suburb town. And they're doing food drives for those kids here in town. So, I'm gathering up things to, take in for that. It's, what can we do? Yeah, it sucks being stuck inside, but what can we do to help others? And you're always thinking of that, Tori. You're always first as, what can we do to help others? And that's one of those things that I just love about you. So that's something I'm interested to see what the Girl Style community is doing. What are they doing out there to help their own communities? And what are the problems that we're not hearing about and some of the solutions?
Yeah. And I think that actually makes me have this whole retrospective. I don't know if that's the right word I want to use, but have this whole moment in my head where I'm asking myself, what am I doing? What are we doing? Because we usually are on the forefront of giving back, and we've just been so in our own world where it's just been, it's about us. It's selfish right now. We're going to stay in, and that's not the mentality we should be having. So I think that's a really great point to make my brain go, for sure.
And this is a situation that really caught everyone off guard, really honestly. To be completely honest, last Saturday or Friday night, I wasn't thinking about this at all.
Yeah.
And how a week, what a week, everything changed in a week. It was just,
everything changes in 24 hours.
Every day something new is coming. So that's, again, why going back to how do we stay connected as a community and what type of things we can do. And so, there's other things that we can do too, which I saw someone mention, just taking a walk. And I'm going to say, at first I was like, take a walk, because if you're supposed to be self-quarantined and you're out, but if you're taking a walk and you're around other people and, you're still getting fresh air and staying 6 feet, I still think that could be beneficial, because I haven't left the house in like forever. So I think it's a good thing. I think it's important.
I've left every day. Unfortunately, I probably haven't been so smart, but I did have to go to the grocery store.
You did have to go to the grocery store. I mean, those are things you have to. And like you said, those basic needs. But what I'm also seeing, just watching, because I love Instagram and I get stuck on there, and TikTok, and I'm seeing that a lot of people are taking up new hobbies or finishing tasks that they have been putting off for a really long time. And I think that's another benefit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Did you see in the chat, Bill, Nicole's talking about elderberry syrup? I bet there's some things that we have on hand that we don't think about that can help with some of these symptoms and stuff.
Yep, that was Sonia, actually.
Was it Sonia?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, I thought it was Nicole.
No,
Sorry.
she was talking to Nicole about it.
No,
that's on Nicole's name. See, I suck at this reading the comment thing. This is why.
Hey, Aaron. No, it's good.
Oh, Aaron. So talking about Aaron, welcome. So we're talking about staying connected and how hard it is. And Aaron is also another one of our PFFs that we actually met at Posh Fest. Yeah, and now we're all friends. So Erin actually lives here in Spokane, and we do go, we used to until we couldn't, but we used to go and have happy hour and then go thrifting. She's like one of my favorite thrifting partners. So it's again, reiterating that you can still find connections online with the community.
And
Doesn't her
Nicole,
husband eBay too? He does, doesn't he?
Chad does, yeah. He does eBay, I think.
Yeah, a lot of all eBay.
Yeah, he's again another posh man, or not posh man, but reseller man.
Denali, talking about eBay. I've never seen somebody stuff so much into the little bitty envelope, the flat rate envelope. Denali's a master, man. Master.
She's the awesome woman right there. That's it.
Yes, Aaron, happy hour fun time. So you actually kind of were the inspiration for this, because during the Bill Reacts video, you mentioned virtual happy hour, and I was like, okay, that actually is a brilliant idea. And then seeing Denali with Blake and Tiffany and Hugo last night, it was just, it's like we can still have these interactions, and it's super cool.
Nicole said one big thing to support local businesses like our gyms. We're keeping our memberships to our small studios, even if they close and we can't go in. Yeah, that's
smart. Yeah. Yep. Well, and here's something interesting. So I had seen someone post on Instagram about supporting small restaurants by buying gift certificates. But then last night, Tiffany, her family actually owns a restaurant or multiple restaurants, but she said that is not the best. That's not the best answer because it doesn't get you. They can't use it, or there was a reason that wasn't the best answer. I thought it was a great solution.
There's no revenue going in there.
But a lot of it was interesting to me because I thought that was a really great way to support them. But apparently, it doesn't. It's not.
In the means they must not get money through till it's spent or something?
Correct.
Well, because
I think that's
because
the
they give
thing.
the money, but then when someone comes, they've already spent the money, so then it
Right.
actually isn't as beneficial.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, so with those local businesses though, there are a lot of our local businesses that are doing food to go, or that you could still come in and pick things up. And a lot of them, even our wine shop. So we have a local wine shop, and they were very much like, you can order online, we'll put it outside, you can come pick it up,
Yep.
we'll, bring it to your car, whatever it is. But a lot of those businesses are going to work with you. So I think that's a really great point. Just reach out.
That was the first thing I did on what day was that, Bill, when I sent you the picture of my wine haul?
Oh my gosh, I think that was Wednesday, wasn't it?
I wasn't thinking about food or anything. I'm like, I got to go to Total Wine. I got to do an online order. Yeah.
Yep.
If I could be sequestered, I'm doing it right.
Yes.
Exactly. So in the comments, are there any hobbies or tasks or anything that you have done that you may not have done before? And so, for example, many of you know that I have started embroidering, and it was kind of like, I'll do it when I can do it. And today I almost finished a giant project. Like, I'm really excited. In fact, I think I'm going to show you because I'm so excited about this. Lara, I was messaging you with like the pictures because I was like, this is my favorite. It's like my favorite one so far. Oh, and the internet's going out again.
Oh, this one's so cute. You're not out. You're good. We can see.
Okay. But so embroidery is one of those things that I have been doing. And this is the new, I'm like, so I'm doing, look how cute this is.
Oh, that's so much further than when you sent. Oh,
yeah, this is what I've been working on today. So it actually love each other, and it's going to be like an ombre. This is mirrored. So it's like light pink, darker pink, and the darkest pink, and then the little flowers. So I'm really excited about this one. So for me, that's what I've been working on.
Unless Bill he needs to put it on so I can read the back and see it clearly.
Put it on, me. Bill always puts it on, right?
Big guy in a little coat. I'm just going to let you know this right now. Big guy in a little coat. Oh, look,
That's like a glove, baby. Like a glove.
Don't hurt it. Don't hurt this jacket. And
Oh
it's
my
so
goodness.
nice.
Great. That would fit Peyton.
That's awesome.
Something that Nicole said, and somebody else said about Arkansas, but Nicole said that they went to their butcher for meat, their small town butcher, when there was a line at Winco. What is Bill doing? Don't turn around, Tori. Just don't turn around.
I can see it.
There was a line at Winco to get in, and they went to their butcher and got all this good quality meat at the small business. So that's a really good idea of focusing on our small businesses.
I think so. And that's really inspiring to me because I don't think about those things. I mean, I'm the type of person that buys everything from Amazon, or we go to Safeway because we have our coupons, right? So, I mean, this, again, thinking about the positive things that might come out, right now it may be a little bit more of a hardship, but maybe it'll also kickstart our brains for maybe more conservation. So, conserving things and not going through them so quickly, and then also supporting more small businesses. So that's a
I was telling B that I think that my 8 seasons of The Walking Dead has helped me to deal with this situation so much better.
Yes.
Given me so many good skills. Let's see. Hold on. I was going to see what. Oh, there's some hashtags that are trending for mending and cleaning vintage stash. Bill, you're better at reading these than I am.
Quarantine cleaning. Love it. Quarantining hashtag.
Social distancing.
I think it's social. SEW. Yes.
Cool.
Thanks, Liz.
I steamed your floor today. Like, you've got this time to do things that you don't. I've got one of those hot steamers. I can steam the tile, and I did it because I wanted to deep clean, but also, I have the cutest 1.5-year-old grandson that, is crawling all over the floor, has asthma. You want to make sure that the germs are cleaned up. Did you disinfect them? What did you say?
Yeah.
Minimal germs.
Yeah. Dead at them.
Killed him.
Yep. I killed him.
Yeah.
I started a FaceTime randomly from my butt
Yes,
to you
you
guys.
did. To the four of us, actually. It's like, why everybody's in this thing. Excellent.
Hey, B, what are some of the positive impacts on the business? I mean, you've been talking a lot about the trends in the business. What are people seeing out there with Posh or eBay or, I don't know, Macari, all those other things? What's going on?
Yeah, I would love to hear from everyone too, because I've seen some people say that it's been bad. For us, it's actually been better. We've done better this month than we have in January and February. And I don't know if it's just right now because people are staying home and they're shopping online more, because it hasn't been, just talking last night in Denali's live, just listening to what everyone was saying, talking about what type of items they're selling. I would think that it's stay-at-home clothes and comfy clothes and, leggings and stuff, but we've been having
all kinds of craziness.
Full price sales. And so I don't know. I think that we should be prepared, but I'm seeing stability, which is kind of scary.
Oh, and Ash wants to make Brian tell everybody about his quarantines and his John Travolta joke.
Oh, no. Okay. So Ashton's my 30-year-old daughter that came to Posh Fest with me and loves Tori and Bill too. This joke. I'm sorry ahead of time.
I made it up because I thought it was great. We had the Tom Hanks saying, hey,
So he comes into me and goes, did you know John Travolta has coronavirus now? Oh, I'm not supposed to say that.
Yeah.
That's all right. It's fine.
Okay.
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
And I said, he's got chills that are multiplying and he's losing control. But it turns out it was just Saturday Night Fever. So there you go.
Okay. See, I think that's
guys, I'm so
sorry.
Hey, no charge. Yeah.
You're here all week, but I'm bummed. Oh my gosh. But he's gonna die right now. It's like what is happening? Oh my goodness. So Victoria someone bought a dress for her daughter. Excellent. Kim says it's been steady for her as well. And then, Denali said that Hugo and Tiffany said last night board games and DVDs have been selling for them because, people are home. And
that's interesting.
Right? When you're home, especially when you're kids, like thinking about that. So, we don't have kids. So for us, it's like I embroider and he plays video games.
Yes.
But, what do you do when you have your kids home? And what if they're sick? And what if, what do you do to pass the time and spend time with them? And right? I mean, I remember as a kid, I played with rocks, but
the very beginning of the chat, like before you guys even went live, people were talking. Somebody said, I can't remember who it was, said, my kids are out. Help. What do I do?
Oh, yeah.
And we have a 4-year-old who
Amberlicious.
You just want to keep them off of, screen time. You want them to stay up. But, our 14-year-old came down with Ashton and, her husband and Maddox, and we all played that heads up game last night with the phone. We did use the phone, but we weren't on, social media or anything. We had a blast. We were laughing so hard. So, what are those things that we can do with people? I thought about maybe having her bake something. I don't know. I need ideas.
I think the baking idea is great because you have a result at the end. So, you have something that keeps them busy, something that tastes good.
Bowl.
You have a
There's
bowl.
a skill.
I think baking is awesome.
Yeah, I knew it was Amberlicious.
I think that's true. Also for me, I really think that this is a time that we can spur creativity. So, and I'm saying this from someone who was an educator but doesn't have kids, but I feel like just watching our godchildren be on the phone and have that technology down, great. And not that their parents are amazing, by the way, but I'm just thinking whenever I give them a gift or something, it's educational. And I'm like, well, how can we take this time? Can we give them like what we used to do when we were little? Here's a topic, write a story, or finish the story with this subject or whatever it is. But little things like that, I think can be fun for adults. right? But it could also be super cool for kids to help you work together and finish a story. And they probably do this in school, but when you're stuck at home, you know, what can you? I don't know. That's just my
Hobbies. Lorenzo said that they are working on with the kids some upcycling projects. And that's what you're doing, Tori. I asked in the chat what kind, like what are they doing? I'd love to know.
Yeah.
Posh is My Purpose or New England Betty Boop. Her 12-year-old son loves to make pizza and bread. Send him my way.
Wow.
I love me some bread and butter.
Ash is rough. Finally do our taxes and teach the kids about adulting.
You know, no
That's
time.
your Ash,
like
really?
No time.
Seriously?
I still haven't, by the way. I will. I haven't done taxes yet.
My child.
Gosh,
I haven't done them.
Ash.
Not because
we you don't want to know what we owe.
That's
I'm
rough.
almost done. I just have a unique situation. Not the business. The business was easy because, you know, we're sole prop, but other things. So it'll happen. We'll get those done.
Juniper said,
For
and
sure.
don't forget it's okay for kids to be bored sometimes. That's how they learn how to entertain themselves.
Yes.
Boredom fosters creativity.
That is, yes, because being a kid, right, we would have to go sit outside. And I played with rocks when I was little. I mentioned this, my brother and I we didn't have money growing up. So, you know, we're like, well, what are we going to do? Just hang out during the summer at our grandparents' house? So we would play with rocks and create
mud cook. Did you mud cook?
But
I cooked with mud.
Yeah, I think that only works if you confiscate all the electronics.
That's true. We didn't have those back then.
You're never going to compete with that. Yeah, it's just it's so hard.
Denali, the tax deadline did get extended, but the guy hasn't said until when.
Seek Joy said that she got a candle making kit for her birthday last month, and she hasn't had time to use it. So
that's cool.
You got to make a candle and post it on social media and tag us. I want to see.
Me too. And I saw someone talking about painting jeans and bleach tie-dye. Yes.
Oh, that was Sorenzo.
Those are awesome. Yes. I love the bleaching. So the bleaching method for tie-dye, but also, again, there's YouTube. You can learn a lot from YouTube, but you can also just learn from doing it. When you do it, you just learn how things work and, you know, what happens. And I love the bleaching technique. I've always wanted to do it, but.
Yeah, I need to try. You know, Peyton ruined a sweatshirt the other day because she left a marker in her pants and I put it in the dryer. And so maybe we'll do that with that. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
It's perfect because then it doesn't have to be perfect. It's about the imperfections. I think that's a great idea.
About the medical community and you know, is she a nurse? Is she in the medical community?
Who?
Erin.
Oh, she's not a nurse, but she works in the medical community. Yeah. She likes to build the buildings and
keeping those people in your prayers. I agree that is just crazy. Let's see. Ashton's saying something to Liz about what are her favorites. I'm trying to find Liz's statement. Metatelic says a quarantine idea is to reread your favorite childhood book.
Oh yeah, Jennifer, that's a great idea.
She just listened to some boxcar children's books on Audible.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm trying to think of what. So immediately I went to Harry Potter, but I didn't read those as a child, right? But I still think that that's a great idea to reread maybe some of your favorite books. Because reading, you know, is fun.
Yeah. I'll just read Brian some Little House on the Prairie tonight.
You showed your age with that. Yeah, reading.
Yeah, I'm glad you got that, Brian. Thanks.
Yeah.
Well, it'd be great if the libraries weren't closed.
But again, positivity.
Kindle.
You have Kindle.
Well,
you have
yeah.
Also, Audible.
Yeah.
Yep. There's a lot of ways. Or again, look around your house and see if you have anything that's been sitting there. I think a lot of us hold on to things. I mean, we've moved and I got rid of many things, but then I find things that's, why do I keep this? Why do I have this like 1940s book of the West that I've never read because it has a cool cover? So that could be something interesting.
Metatelic says that she was going to bleach some T-shirts this week, but she can't find bleach anywhere. I didn't think of that.
No.
Yeah. Just like toilet paper.
It's so
Oh,
crazy.
I just saw on Instagram somebody sent if you guys have seen this, send it, tag Tori, I'll send it to you guys. But it's a January through December, the month that you're born. What is your backup toilet paper of choice, or what you're supposed to use for backup toilet paper?
Uh-oh, I'm gonna have to check that out because I'm a July, so I'm pretty sure it's gonna be bark or dandelions.
August was the worst. It was something like dragging your butt on the carpet or something.
Oh, well, that
Like our
could work
dog.
too.
Yeah, that's Lily.
That's our dog.
Yeah, that's what she does. She's laying
I'll
there.
send it to you guys if y'all have seen it. Oh my gosh, it was funny. So yeah,
Oh.
we gotta laugh. We gotta laugh through it.
Absolutely.
So a few different things coming through, which is super cool. So I'm going to go from like the most recent, just because it popped up.
Cool.
But where did it go? I just saw the genealogy. So with like the genealogy, looking into your genealogy right now. What else? I love Discover Your Family Tree is super cool. And then Denali mentioned Overdrive, and then B-Hug mentioned Hoopla, some library apps that you can download for free. So the Overdrive app, I'm not sure, Denali, you'll have to check. I used to use that all the time when I was like an avid reader. But I think when our libraries are closed, you can't check out books online, which I think would be really unfortunate. Because I remember there was a time where I'm like, oh, well, the libraries are closed here because of some other emergency in Seattle. And I couldn't check out a book, but that would be interesting to look at. It's really awesome to know that those are out there.
There is no negativity in here. That's why your post got deleted. Do it again, you're gonna get banned. That's it. That's done. We're not.
You can message them. You don't have to say it.
No positive. No negativity.
You know, something we were talking about earlier was that, you know, when I'm watching the news, everything seems like doom and gloom. But when I go out, like we braved Costco yesterday, and Brian felt really uncomfortable. He's like, we got to get away from all these people. It feels like nothing's wrong. So like everybody out, when we drive around, everybody's acting like normal. Our gym was like, or the gym down the street. It's obvious I don't have a gym, but the gym down the street was packed. So I'm just interested to see what people are doing in the rest of the country. You know, I know that in Washington, it's like, I mean, like people just take it super seriously, locked down. But I don't think that's made it down here.
I don't know. Yeah, it's.
And the Costco trip was very important. We needed to get a Vitamix, so we made better smoothies.
My blender broke. I needed a smoothie maker.
Exactly. You have to get your important pieces.
The essentials.
So a couple of things I want to call out from the comments. Beth mentioned playing cards, and Beth, I want you to tell us what are your games of choice, because cards. Love cards. When we go up to the cabin where there's no cell phones, no technology, we are playing dominoes. Wait, it's not dominoes. Mexican Train and spades. No, what's that game we played? Deuces? Aces? I don't know. It's some game. But anyway.
Gin Rummy.
Oh, Gin Rummy.
Oh, I love that.
Jeez.
Wow. Yeah, that really, my brain did not know what that is.
No,
and then Mandy says that they are tackling their death money pile with their kids and teaching them about business while they're out of school. So how cool is that? So just like Brian learned about the business from Lara, and same thing, Bill, from me, kids are sponges. They want to know, help me. I remember, counting money when I was little, and I think that that's a really cool idea. So love it. Thanks for sharing.
It's something that, our kids are older. My daughter's 30, but Brian's kids are 17 and 14. We're talking to them about the economics of all this. Like we've been talking about the impact on small businesses, but we watched the 2020 special last Friday night, and they talk about the economics. All the people here that depend on overseas supplies or things like that, and then just how it kind of has that chain of events that just keeps happening, and they're learning a lot about this. So instead of focusing on the scary piece of it, get kids to think about it, like what's really going on and what can we learn about this economically,
Exactly. And I think that's also why it's important for us to stay positive, because, our kids are going to look to us for guidance. And so if we're constantly focusing on the negative or just always having the news on, whether it's your kids or kids that are close to you or that you're around, that's all they're going to internalize. And I mean, I think back to when I was younger, I used to have panic attacks about nuclear war. I used to have panic attacks about nuclear war because, you know, the Cold War was like talked about all the time when I was little. So I remember that vividly. And I think that that's something that we should be mindful of too with our children, and just like you said, focus on
that. Oh, that's interesting, Tori, because mine was tornadoes. You know, I'm in Texas, and when I was a kid, so what causes them that, you know? So Ty, Brian's son Ty, is, you know, 6'3". He works at the Starbucks inside Kroger. I was telling Bill this. You know, of course, Starbucks was a little bit dead, and there were lines out the door for at Kroger, you know, to try to get in, and they were keeping people from getting in because it was too full. That's so great. And so he texted us and said they pulled him from Starbucks to Sack Groceries, which he's never done. And I honestly think that it was a really great learning experience for him. I mean, think about all the things that you've been thrown into at work when it's an emergency, kind of like jumping into the fire, and you learn from those. But he was literally like, oh my gosh, this is the kid who makes fun of me for overreacting about things. And he's like, it's the apocalypse in here, I swear. I have redemption.
That's why kids, they want to help. I feel like that's the thing is all these stories I'm hearing, they want to help. They just want, you know, they
need direction.
Yeah, they definitely need direction. Yeah. And so a couple other things super cool. Kathy says that her daughter and partner, the restaurants that they were working at were closed for a little bit. So they're paying them to share their closet. So right there, you're again bringing family in, you're giving them money.
That's a great idea.
Super awesome. And then Beth also mentioned that they're taking photos.
How'd they find out about that? Just one that they found out about was closing, so they asked them to share their closet for. Is that what it was?
It's her daughter and partner. So so relatives, I think. So then I mean that's hard when you hear, which we're finding businesses are closing, whether temporarily or permanently. So how, you know, if that's going to happen, how do we continue to support those people that are close to us?
Now, something I'd like to know in the chat is who's full-time posher or eBayer? Because we're not. We have jobs. You have a job. Who can we really help to share, buy from, those kinds of things? That's important to us to know because you know, I can always shop while I'm sitting here.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and I think that actually ties it all back to the very beginning when we're talking about being supportive and positive and this community being as amazing as it is. So, you know, there are many people out there that this is their job. Reselling is what they do. It's how they're surviving. So if we can pull together, and I saw some people post online, you know, it's really easy to support them. If you're shopping online for something, check your fellow resellers, you know, see if you can buy from them. 100%. I think that's so important.
Mm-hmm.
That's a mindset everyone should get into as far as checking there first before you look on wherever. You know,
absolutely.
Well, before this all happened, you know, like before I started poshing, I wouldn't even think twice about dropping, you know, $500 at Nordstrom on new stuff. I don't do that anymore. Like even our Christmas this year was way different because I just focus more on the environment and reusing what we have. And, you know, we also cook better. We don't throw away as much food. So this whole reselling experience has been enlightening for us as far as taking care of the earth and the environment. And that's what I work for, an environmental company. And I didn't ever really think about those kinds of things. So I don't know. It's been enlightening to be a reseller. There's so many blessings about this. It's
enlightening because you see what you can buy for $2 that someone paid $200 for a year ago.
Yeah.
It's a little, it makes you really stop and think, right?
Yeah, exactly. That whole culture, you know, just recycle culture, going through things over and over, and not recycle in the good way, but just like for me, I'm going to tell you, when I was in high school, I think I was known for never wearing the same thing twice. And I was poor and I couldn't afford anything. And I would go and thrift all my things, but I really didn't wear them twice. right? And so now it's the same thing with Instagram. So many people are like that. They're wearing it for social media, and then they're going to buy something else, and then they're, we're just going through a lot of that. So I think that that's being a reseller helps you in that mindset that, okay, how do I recycle clothes?
You're like and Pretty in Pink. And you still have that cool, fun, retro, like vintage style. And you like cut things up and sew them.
Yes. Ooh, sewing. That's another good task right now for keeping busy kids, especially teaching them how to pattern and
cook.
Bill's cooking. Yeah, Bill keeps talking about cooking. Brittany, hello, Brittany. I saw you. I wanted to make sure I called out hello. And a few people in the comments are, letting us know they're full time. And, really, truly put your Poshmark closet down below so that we can go in, all of us. I am going to take all the names that we have and, share a list in the comments. So I think that it's important that we are supporting each other first and foremost, for sure. Want to make sure I'm
writing down.
Yeah. Oh, perfect. Thank you. That's awesome. And then, Juniper, you're doing some sewing. Yes, I love it. I've seen a few people that have been posting that on Instagram where they're, recreating. Oh, who was it? Oh, goodness, I can't remember. Such a sweetheart. And I'm following, she saw a 2-piece that she wanted to recreate from Zara. So she went and got material and all this. So I can't wait to see how that turns out. It's just, I love it. I think that there is so much positivity that can come from this, but we also have to be,
Annabelle.
We still need to be realistic. Obviously, like I said, not put our heads in the same.
Smart and Savvy Girl says that all restaurants and bars in Ohio are closing except carryout, ordered by the governor.
Yep, that was today.
Did it just happen?
Yeah.
So for the business owners, that can probably be good because they're not paying for the overhead of everything. But for the waiters and waitresses and bartenders and all of that,
that's gonna suck.
Very hard. So, and some are still paying their salaries, but still, how can they do that?
So as HR people, and I know Denali is ex-HR, I know that they are letting people apply for unemployment in these situations, which is great. And hopefully they go through with some more of those tax breaks and things we were talking about. But if people don't know, get on that unemployment site for your state and file that if you have that situation in your family. I don't know, is there anything in Washington, Denali, that you know of, and from an HR perspective that is changing? I don't know how you do this, Bill. The comments are going so fast, I can't even see them.
Well, you can zoom them down, or you can pull them down. But yeah, so a lot of people are talking to each other. That's awesome, and sharing their closets. And
New Jersey's closing all restaurants and bars.
Oh wow! Like totally not even takeout, huh?
Nothing. I mean, they have it bad. I mean, New York has it the worst, though.
Yeah.
New Rochelle.
Yeah, New Rochelle.
Yeah. So going back to the positive nature, I know, we're all being impacted in one way or another. And but we're coming up on the hour, and I always want to make sure that I'm respecting everyone's time. It's Sunday night. Hopefully you're not going to go back and just stare at the TV the rest of the night.
Please don't.
We've had so many people share great ways for you to connect in the community. So tonight, my challenge to you is message somebody that you respect online. Like, just reach out to somebody. Say, hey, I really respect you.
Tap them on the shoulder.
I just want to say I like this, or, just make a connection. I think that that's a really small step that we can make so that maybe that would facilitate, future relationships down the road, but it also helps connect so that you're not feeling so isolated.
Right.
I see Mevy in the chat. She's one of my buddies. I remember when she first started her entire Poshmark closet in Chicago. So
this is what the Facebook thing is for, the poke. If you want to give somebody a poke.
Yeah, you just poke.
Yeah.
Yeah, the poke.
What's a poke?
You poke somebody on Facebook or Messenger or whatever.
Oh my, what's a poke? I don't know. I'm like poke? Like seaweed?
No.
Seaweed?
No,
seafood?
It's not raw fish. Poke.
My brain.
It's the Walking Dead night. Woohoo!
Yes. So anyway, everyone, share your tips. If you have any tips on staying positive as we wrap up our live tonight.
Thanks,
really,
Annabelle.
I love all of you for joining us. And Lara and Brian.
Thank you.
Even though we couldn't be there.
So sad. We are coming now.
Come down
Just
to
wait.
Texas and do like a thrift weekend or something.
Yeah, a whole week. We'll
We're
do a whole
coming.
week this time.
Oh yeah,
We're
we're
gonna do
gonna
a
stay
week.
for 7
Read
days.
Sonia Valesev's message. That's the sweetest. That makes this all worthwhile.
Yes. No, see, and
Oh.
even though it's, and I think that's all of us. So Sonia, thank you for sharing that honesty. And it's one of those that, Bill and I'm an introvert by nature. Okay. But I definitely need to have human contact. I need to have, and even if it's just virtual contact, I need to know that I'm not alone in the world.
Thanks, Joy.
That's what it is. Because when it's just Bill and I with Lily, it's still amazing. I mean, I love this guy.
Thanks, Beth.
But I need to have other connections. So Sonia, thank you for sharing that. Yeah.
Thanks,
And
Sonia. Reach out to
Love you.
everybody.
Love you guys.
Love you all. We're going to reschedule.
Yes,
we
we
will.
are.
So I want to stick around. I'm going to check out the comments as we make sure I just don't want to miss anything here.
There's a lot, Tori.
Yeah, we'll probably go through after. But everyone, thank you for joining
Thanks,
us
Mandy.
so much. Hopefully this added a little positivity to your Sunday night. And Bill and I are going to continue to go live next week as we normally would, even though we're not going to have a thrift haul. We might just do another a virtual happy hour
We
once
may.
again. And if you're interested, if you want to join us for a virtual happy hour, if you want to, and I've been telling you all to reach out, but I'm going to do the same. I'm going to reach out to somebody tonight. I'm going to follow my own words, and I'm going to,
Thanks,
say hi.
Jennifer.
I'm going to do it.
Me too.
Yeah.
Maybe Brian and Bill can reach out to somebody on Xbox.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. You too. Bill.
Yeah.
Like, hey,
let's
man,
get that.
Let's play. Let's
Tori,
play.
Dad, they're coming for you.
Exactly.
We're coming for you.
All right. Perfect.
Bye.
Everybody, thank you so much. All right. So I'm going to say bye.
See
All right. Until next time, everybody. See ya. Oh, you just swore on my channel.
Oh.
They can still hear you. Bleep. All right. Bye, everybody. We'll
Bye.
see you next
Sorry.
time.
Stinking Denali.